Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel, and I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering BelAir Season 3. It's finally here, and I have a confession to make. I made a video on yesterday reviewing one of the episodes that dropped, because Peacock did drop 3 episodes. But first, before I have a confession, I want to thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you for your support and love. Please continue to support this channel by liking this video and also subscribe to my channel if you are new to this channel. So, in my yesterday's video, I actually reviewed episode 2 of the 3-pack of the episode. I was like, what? I didn't know that there was a first one, because I thought everything was in sync, but I just chose the episode that I thought was the right one. I apologize. So what I'm saying in the first one probably really seems off, and it wasn't supposed to be that way, but it happened. That's life. I do owe you another video that'll come out this weekend. I have other shows that I'm also reviewing too. If you are familiar with the Braxtons, that comes on, and also Family Empire Houston is coming back, so I have a full weekend coming up. But however, let's get into one of my favorite shows. Alright, so we start off the new season. Everyone's kind of doing their thing right now. We see Lisa and Will, they're dating each other, but they're not putting any labels. That's what Lisa wants. He's hanging out at the country club that Lisa is a lifeguard at. He's kind of becoming really familiar, and he's saying he's really settling into a BelAir now. Like, this is his home. I think that's pretty cool, especially from the previous seasons where he's here or whatever, but in many cases he's wanted to just leave this place because it wasn't familiar to him. We see Hillary. We see her on a flight with LaMarcus, having the time of her life. She was only supposed to go to Paris for a week, and she ended up going for a whole month, spending with LaMarcus. We'll find out a little bit more later. I'm just giving a little introduction. Carlton has been in rehab, and this is his 30th day, and he's getting out, and the family's coming to pick him up. So while there, he met a little friend. I think her name is Amira, which I didn't mention in the last video because nobody really said her name. I was like, or did say their name, but I couldn't remember it or whatever. And Amir was ready to get it on, along with Carlton, but then the family is picking him up or whatever, blah, 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 blah. That's kind of the intro of how things are. You can tell that the school year is over, it looks like, or right at the end. Will is doing his basketball thing and all that good stuff. Phil and Vivian, we hear a little bit later on in the episode that they haven't been having sex. We're finding out that Viv is like unconscious, like, oh, really? They've been so busy and been distant since, at least Uncle Phil says that they haven't had sex since before, or right when Carlton went to rehab. What we're learning and what I'm seeing is that there's a lot of unspoken stuff that's not being said within the whole Banks family. I see them trying to fix stuff without any tools and not really being truthful on how they feel about everything. And we're going to find that out pretty soon. So, as what I'm talking about. So, Carlton comes home. They have a welcome home dinner. He wants to catch up to see what's going on. Hillary's back. Aunt Viv wants to have family dinners at least twice a week. Everyone kind of grumbles. She's like, I know, but we need this type of connection or reconnection within the family. Kind of agreeable, and we understand what's going on. I'd say once a week, because you don't know how people's schedules really are. Hillary fills them in on what she's been doing, as Carlton's trying to catch up on everything. Of course, Will's talking about, he's got this, I don't know if it's a camp or championship, something out of state in Arizona, I think it is. Of course, Uncle Phil's law office is coming together, his practice, and Ashley asked, let's talk about rehab. I said, go ahead. Ashley said, let's put the cards on the table. You've been in rehab. What's been going on there? He was giving this very speech that Carlton is used to saying. And Ashley's digging deeper. Did rehab help you? And he said, yeah. How? He learned about, what was it? He learned not to hold stuff in and to actually deal with the stuff. Deal with stuff that's hard and not just close himself off from it. And Ashley said, it's easier said than done. I said, yeah. Go ahead, Ashley. I think some people need to really deal with some truths. And I think that there are still some gloves on. No one really knows how to deal with stuff. They don't know what's going to be a trigger. So instead of upsetting people, they kind of just avoid stuff within the bank's home. Carlton notices that the wine cellar is locked off. Phil and Vivian talk about that later on. Like, Phil actually, is it too much? I'm going through the recommendation of what the counselor did say. And Viv's like, are you folding already? And he's like, well, I've been kind of the bad cop for a while anyways. And Viv says that she doesn't think that she's been that hard. And maybe she should have, blah, 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 blah. Carlton and Will, they go out, they talk a little bit. They catch up. Carlton tells him about Amira. And while they're out, all of a sudden they see Lou. Lou has been living in LA since the day that he, I guess, got kicked out of Will's life. In the episode, we find out later that Lou's been staying here trying to get himself together. So when he represents himself, to Will, he can say that everything is good. He says that he's been studying, or at least noticing, that Will is a very good basketball player. He says that you get that from your dad. I was really good. Stats was good. The women were around me. You get all that from me. And Will says, well, I'm just not into basketball. I'm into business and all of that. And he says, well, whatever I'm getting because I'm working and grinding. And you didn't learn from me. Well, you didn't learn nothing from him. You didn't learn to take handouts. He's basically trying to say, well, you're getting all this help from your uncle. It's like, dude, get it how you can. Everybody thinks that everything has to be so hard, and get it out of the mud. Look, I understand that black people do have disadvantages and have to work harder. If you do have a helping hand, why not take it? It doesn't make you less of a man. It doesn't make you less of a black person because you actually had help. I think it's great for black people to have some nepotism in their life, because we don't get it. We don't get those privileges that white people do get. And it's no offense to anyone that is white watching this video. We don't get it. That's America. I'm okay with it. I think in some situations you got to watch how you actually play this whole nepotism thing. For example, y'all might get mad at me. Bronny, LeBron James' son. I have no problem with him being in the NBA. I don't think he should have went over to his dad's team. I think that even in this nepotism thing, you still got to make a name for yourself. And not just on the heels of your dad. Get in there. I'm not opposed to that. But go to another team. And some people also feel like Bronny's not ready for that. I don't know. I haven't really studied him. I'm going to go off of what people have said, but I still welcome nepotism for black people. So Will gets mad because it's like, y'all trying to fit me into this box to go after basketball. Go after basketball. And it's just not my field. Like, it's just not the only thing I want to do with my life. So, of course, things ended awful again. And Will left and said, I didn't come to you for advice. This is not what this was. So, that's that for that. I have a feeling that Lou will be back later on in the season, especially for what Jeffrey gives Will later on in the episode, which is some box from Lou. Jeffrey did visit him. And by the way, let's get on Jeffrey. Jeffrey has talked with Phil. It looks like there's some type of security system that's being put in place. We're noticing that there's some type of danger that's happening. I explained a little bit more in episode 2, which was my first video, that there's something from back home that is a threat right now. He feels like there's something going to happen to Frederick. You shouldn't have brought Frederick here. And Phil said, that's your son. You had your right to actually, want to see your son. So we find out later on that Frederick is in an apartment or something, that he has him under lock and key right now. Not as against his will or whatever, but as a safety tactic. So Frederick is back also. Hillary visits Ivy at the content creator house. Basically, the other women have moved out. So it looks like Ivy says that the content creator home is a dying brand right now, and you're doing pretty good. We find out that LaMarcus set her up to meet different ones that he knew, and she's really booming on her own. I think that's pretty cool. But now it's kind of like, so we're dropping that whole plot of these women, her and Ivy being, I guess, these bosses, with this content creation stuff. I don't know if I like that or not. And now Ivy's being kind of put as the sidekick to Hillary, which wasn't the same before because they were kind of competing with each other, doing kind of, Ivy was doing a little bit of this mean girl stuff, It kind of just reduces that character, and it's hard to see how this character was first introduced, and now we're getting a washed down version. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future, how many more episodes Ivy's on, but it's just kind of like, you're wasting this character now, whatever. The Banks, they are hosting a Juneteenth party. We're finding out, Will says, as black as I am, we didn't really do anything about Juneteenth. And in the Banks home, that was heavily celebrated and acknowledged in their home. So, is there anything in between? Oh, after Will visited with Lou, he's having practice with Doc and all of them. He can't get his head together, and he's having a bad practice. Doc yells at him and just basically says, you need to take the day off. In the meantime, he was meeting with Quentin. Q is more discussed in the next episode, but he has this business entrepreneur program, Young, Gifted, and Black, that Will is kind of a final contender for, or needed to do something to be a final contender. He missed his meeting, and Quentin saw him and said, I guess you're not as serious as you said that you are, and thank you for your services, but you are not needed. So did he come, or whatever happened? I don't know what happened, but later on in the episode, Carlton talks to Quentin and says, hey, look, in a nutshell, give Will a second chance. Will is someone that looks a certain way, and people wouldn't think that he's got all this stuff going on for him. But he's got such a brilliant mind and such purpose in life. And I'm paraphrasing. And Q said, well, yeah, that's how people really receive me. Like, they see all my tattoos, and then all of a sudden they're shocked to see me on Forbes magazine. So he related in that way and ended up saying, look, your cousin here went really hard for you. I never really had anyone do that for anyone like that, and I'm giving you another chance. So I'm glad, because it has been kind of like a Will always having to rescue out Carlton, and I'm loving the showering back from Carlton. We see that Carlton had to go through some type of drug test. He got to do it, of course. Does Ashley have any more? She does have some more scenes. I'm trying to think of everything before we get to this Juneteenth party. Nothing else. So we're gonna go to the Juneteenth party. Everything's well. Hillary's there, and Jazz is invited, and that throws off Hillary. Ivy did say something I forgot when they were in the content creator house. Like, you're glowing. This is something extra about you, because she said Hillary said that she wasn't too sure about LaMarcus when she got on the plane, but after a month, you're like, I'm so in love with him. Blah, 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 blah. But she said, what is this glow? Ivy is a good baby name. She's like, no, I'm not doing that. But we find out here what's going on, and we're going to find out in just a second. Hillary, Jazz is invited. She sees him, and it just throws her off. Ashley and Will, they were talking a little bit about how Hillary did Jazz. Like, really gave her a read that she needed. When she sees Jazz comes in, of course, he's with the great-looking girl, as he always does. She goes over and talks to him and says, look, I apologize for how things went and all that. Jazz basically just said, you always run when things get hard. And it's only going to take an amount of time before you run from this ninja right here. He said, you're a runner. You're a track star. I said, Lord. And then Jazz walks off. So in retaliation, Hillary ends up announcing, along with LaMarcus, that they are engaged, and she said yes. I said, Lord. I think that was it for the episode. It was pretty decent. They got right into the drama. I'm glad they didn't pull no stops. All three of the episodes are pretty good. Again, I'll have the third episode up, but tell me what you think. You have any predictions, even outside of the trailer that's going on? I'm loving how this season is shaping up. That's it for right now. Stay with me. Stay connected to this channel. And again, I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video. Also subscribe to my channel and leave your comments below. Until the next one, peace.